What's up, everybody? It's Sunday, and this is Darnell Self. This is another Self-Talk Sunday. Hey, this one right here, I wish that I was around a group of people right now hanging out at my house and we could have like a chat about it. Because I'm interested in hearing what other people feel about this one, especially since social media has become such a staple in so many people's lives. I mean, there's a lot of people now scrolling on social media every day, and what you'll see are people who are judging other people. This is a Self-Talk Sunday. I hope you get right here. And again, I'm interested, right? Because what I'm going to share is my perspective. I'd be interested in hearing your perspective, right? Your view, because what I see in the world and what I've always seen is that we judge each other so much, right? And so people say things like, I would never do that. And then the follow-up question behind that would be, well, why would you never do that? And it's things like, well, I wasn't raised that way. I've learned that. But what we're not considering, this is why perspective is so important. What we're not considering is the person that we're judging maybe didn't have parents. Parents were absent. Their teachers told them you'll never be anything. If they had parents, maybe the parents told them you'll never be anything. Significant others told them you'll never be anything. You bring nothing to the table, right? So, and then we say things like, just believe in yourself, right? Just pull yourself up. And we're thinking, but we don't understand that person's never had anyone pour into them, never had anyone tell them that they bring value. So they don't see value, a very low self-worth. So I say all of that just to say this. We should be careful because there's been a lot of environments that we haven't been a part of. And if we were a part of that environment, we may think differently. We may carry ourselves differently. So you're like, well, why is this a self-talk? Well, let's talk about perspective here. So someone says, I would never spend $300 on a pair of sunshades. And someone else says, I spent $3,000 on a pair of sunshades. And someone else says, if you spend more than $30, you're crazy. Someone else says, I wouldn't even spend my money on sunshades. These are all the different judgmental statements you'll see. And the funny thing is, it's perspective. Listen, let's just say you make $50,000 a year. Check this out. Let's say you make $50,000 a year right now, right? In your career, your business, what have you. And someone else makes $500,000 a year. So if that person making $500,000 a year makes 10 times more than the person making $50,000 a year. So if they're spending $300 on a pair of shades and the person making $50,000 a year is spending any more than $30 on a pair of shades, then they are hypocritical, right? To say, don't spend $300, I would never do it. But you do, you spend a greater percentage of your money on shades if you spend 40 or 50 bucks on that pair of shades than the person who's making $500,000 who spent $300,000. You spend a greater percentage. Right? Possibly. This is what I mean by being judgmental, and it's all perspective. So we should just be careful, right? It's the same thing that people say, I would never spend $200,000 on a car. It's a depreciating asset. You're crazy. You're dumb. I mean, look, if the person making $1 million a year spends $200,000 on a vehicle, if that's their choice, right? I'm not here to judge, but if that's their choice, and you make $100,000 a year, if you spend more than $20,000 for your vehicle, you potentially have spent a greater percentage of your earnings than the person who's making $1 million who spent it on a $200,000 car. So if you're making $100,000 a year and you bought a $50,000 a year or a $50,000 vehicle, you actually spent more money. You've got a greater expense, potentially. Again, I know there's things out there, and some of you are renting your cars out, you're doing other things, but potentially you have actually spent more money in your vehicle, a $50,000 vehicle, than the person who bought a $200,000 vehicle. It's all perspective. That's all I'm saying. So just what's the value of this whole self-talk is that we should probably mind our own business. That's the real value there. Look, I'm careful not to get caught up in somebody else's stuff. Putting I'm not in anybody else's pockets. I don't know what they do with their money and how much money they have. And if you don't know the whole story, why are we judging with one video, one picture, one caption, right? And we think we know that person's whole life. We think we know that person grew up. We don't know. We don't know why that person thinks the way they think, why they do the things they do. So there could be some other things. They may have so many assets, so much cash flow, so much. You're like, well, you should put that in retirement. They may have more retirement than you, and you said it, but they have more than you. You don't even know it. So all I'm saying is just be careful, guys. I spend so much time focused on my own legacy and the things that I'm building and the things that I'm helping other people to build. I don't really have a bunch of time to be focused on why somebody else is doing what they're doing. I wish them well, and I pray that everyone is able to reach their goals in life and able to add value to their community. But why would I sit around and try to figure out why somebody else is doing what they're doing when that doesn't change anything that I'm doing? Right? If it does, if it impacts you because they're close to you and you're in their inner circle or they're in yours, then yeah, maybe you guys should have some communication, some conversations so you guys can help each other out. Outside of that, be careful. Filling your mind up with stuff has nothing to do with where you're heading in life. I call it traffic, right? Not even on your side of the road, but you're paying attention to it. And now you delayed your own destiny for something that was not a barrier for you. All right, guys, remember, these are all things that we have to make sure that we're saying to ourselves. This is why I don't pay attention to certain things, simply because I can't afford to have my mind thinking about something that now takes up mind space that goes away from what I said my goal was. Self-Talk Sundays, guys. Remember, the things we say to ourselves about ourselves eventually determines what we attract for ourselves. God bless you guys. Have an amazing week. Happy September.